Well, welcome everybody. I'm Denise Joswack, the 2025 president of the Alliance of International Aromatherapists and co-chair of the AIA Research Academy. And again, this Research Academy was made possible by a generous donation from the Gatafase Foundation. Tonight, I would like to welcome you to the AIA Research Academy Mentoring Program presentation. Dr. Bruce Boynton, our Research Academy co-chair, member of the research and clinical committees, and one of the directors on the board, will be leading the presentation. Bruce has had a long career working in the healthcare research field and a lot of experience with mentoring. So this is our first official AIA mentoring program, and we welcome questions. So just be prepared, put your questions in the chat or raise your hand. It's not a long presentation, but we would like it to be very interactive. So Bruce, go ahead, take it away.
Oh, thank you, Denise, and welcome everyone. This presentation is on mentors for research. Now, you can have mentors for lots of different reasons. So since this is a research academy, we are trying to get people who know something about research to help emerging researchers who want to do something but just don't know how to do it yet. Now, this particular presentation is sort of directed towards people who have more experience and want to be mentors. So later on in the month, we're going to sort of have this again, and it's going to be for people, potential mentees who want to have mentors, because we thought that they would have really different questions. Okay, what we're going to talk about tonight is what is mentoring, why become a mentor, why do we need a mentoring program anyhow, how can AIA set up a mentoring program, and the responsibilities of both the mentors and the mentees. And there's some items that we have partially decided, but we still don't know exactly how they're going to work in the mentoring program. Okay, to mentor is to advise or train someone, especially a younger colleague. And the primary purpose of a mentor is to drive personal growth, building skills, knowledge, and understanding. And I want to tell you a little story about, I think that captures the idea of a mentor. There was a guy named John who was walking to work. He's walking down the sidewalk, and suddenly he fell into a sinkhole. And he struggled to get out, couldn't get out. And the next person that came up and looked down from the sidewalk to where he was a doctor. And the doctor says, "Well, what are you doing down there?" He says, "Well, I fell in the sinkhole and I can't get out." And the doctor says, "So do you think you broke any bones? Did you twist your ankle? Did you hit your head? Do you have any bad bruises or anything like that?" And John says, "No, I just can't get out. And I do ache a little bit from the fall." And so the doctor writes something on a script pad, and he throws the prescription into the sinkhole, and he says, "Well, take this, and I think you're going to do okay. But if you continue to have problems, why don't you come and see me at the office?" And then he leaves. The next person that comes along is a psychologist who says, What are you doing down there?" He says, "Well, I fell in the hole and I can't get out." And the psychologist says, Well, how did you feel about that?" And John says, "Well, I'm frustrated. I can't get out. And I'm of course worried about, I can't get to work. I can't go back to my house. I can't do anything." And the psychologist says, "Well, those are pretty logical reasons that you've listed. And I think you're dealing with this well. But if you need any further help, just come by the office." And he leaves. Finally, a friend of John's comes and looks in the hole and says, "I see you fell in the hole." And John says, "I can't get out." And the friend jumps in the hole And John says, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And the friend says, but I know how to get out. So that's what a mentor is. They already know how to deal with the problem that you're struggling with. They may know particular skills, they may know an approach, but they're there to help you in whatever way they can. Okay, this is from the King and I. If you remember The King and I, the musical, Mrs. Anna, English school teacher, is, and this is actually based on a true story. She goes to Thailand and to educate in Western ways the children of the King of Thailand. And she sings this song, if you become a teacher by your students, you'll be taught. So true. If you're a teacher to anyone, you have to not only know the subject for yourself, but you have to explain it to people who may or may not have your abilities, may have greater ability, may have less, but you have to find ways to help them in the ways that they need to be helped. Well, why become a mentor? Here's a whole list of reasons. You improve your leadership, your communication, you're a good listener, blah, blah, blah. You can all read this for yourself. And if you've been a mentor before or had a mentor, you know that what the mentors are really doing surpasses this. How does it work? Well, mentors and mentees work one-on-one, just like a tutor, on whatever skill or process the mentee wants to learn right then. Well, why is it like that? Everyone's ability, experience, life skills are different, and every study and every clinical action interaction involves different challenges that someone with experience can tell you how to maneuver, and someone that doesn't have that can't. Mentoring objectives. Well, we want to build confidence for emerging researchers. They want to learn new skills. We want to improve their critical thinking. And eventually, for AIA, we want to foster a research culture where lots and lots of people are either doing research, writing case studies, thinking about research, reviewing research. We want to base our clinical practice on meaningful research. So I attribute this to Amanda Lattin, who really set me straight about this. And she said, well, anyone can look stuff up on the internet. Big deal. What we need is experienced researchers who know how to do research and they can show emerging researchers how to do it. So right on, Amanda. Well, why do we trying to make every aromatherapist a researcher? We're not. But participating in research, as far as I'm concerned, it makes you a better clinician. It certainly expands your knowledge base. When you read about research, you get new ideas about, well, this could mean this. I could check this out. It improves analytic and logical reasoning, certainly writing and communication skills. And if you want to go on in academics or even aromatherapy, it will enhance your career opportunities and credibility if you have a couple of articles under your belt. Well, what does the mentor do? Well, they've got to guide the mentee through research methodologies. They've got to provide constructive feedback on the work. The first time one of my mentors had me write an abstract, he just told me to go do it. I did a terrible job. And then I could see what the problem was, and he could point out things that my abstract was lacking. Connect the mentees with valuable resources and networks, and encourage and support their learning journey. Often what a mentor does is just provide a little bit of rudder guidance. They don't have to do the work. They just need to direct the mentee in the right way. One of my mentors, we had to do a thesis in medical school, and so I did on in a biochemistry lab, and I was always in a hurry, so I tried to do 3 experiments simultaneously, and of course, none of them worked. And so I confessed that to my mentor, and he said, just do one experiment and make it a good one. That was what I needed. And I went and did that, and they worked, it came out fine. What can mentees learn from mentors? Everything about research: designing a study, writing an abstract, analyzing data, practice giving a platform presentation. One of the first platform presentations I had, my mentor sat there with a stopwatch, and I had to give it again and again and again. When I got there to the meeting and got before the podium, it was a piece of cake because I'd done it so many times before. Design a research poster, organize an article, provide encouragement, and manage time and effort. So how can we get a mentoring program into AIA? Well, one of the things we want to do is identify prospective mentors and mentees, and that's one of the things we're doing in this presentation. Who's interested in either having a mentor or being a mentor? At some point, we're going to have to match the mentors with the mentees, find the best fit. Often in university settings, this sort of happens spontaneously. If you're interested in someone's research, you go and talk to them about it. If you have problems with a person, you search that person out that can help you. And the mentoring workshop, to some extent, this is a mentoring workshop, but we could have others as the need arises. Finally, we want to collect outcome data. So we don't want to just sign up mentors and mentees. We want something to come out of that experience, like case studies, interventional studies, applying for grants, things like that, or mentees becoming mentors. It's said that you can't be a mentor unless you've had a mentor. I think that's right for me, because you have a model of how different people do it and what you need to do for your mentee. So we have some mentors signed up right now that are seeking mentees. We're ready. Denise, me, Lori, Hargis, Amanda, May, and Marnie, and Carol. I don't want to speak for you, but you may have thrown your name in the hat, and I didn't write it on this slide. For that, if that's true, I apologize. So how to match mentors with mentees? Well, some of it depends on what kind of experience the mentor has had. Are they experienced with bench research or case studies or interventional studies? What kind of prior experience that they have that the mentee would need? What about a particular skill set, like designing a study or data analysis? If the mentor knows how to do any of those skills, then they would be a good fit for the mentee. The other thing is temperament. people sort of assort towards people who are like them. They're either big picture people or details people, or either hard chargers, laid back, whatever. Now, Denise just told me that if you click on this, I don't know, you have to have my permission to see it or something. That was wrong. But anyhow, on the Google Drive, we have a draft agreement. And the idea is that we want to make this a little bit more formal. That is, we want the mentors and mentees to commit to each other so that we'll have success. If we just have vague things, oh yeah, I guess I would like a mentor, I guess I'd like to be a mentor, and then they never call each other, never do any project, well, that defeats the purpose. We want a research culture. We want case studies. Everyone in AIA probably has a clinical experience that they have a good case study that could teach us. We want to see those in our journal and in other journals. Okay, what do we want to know about we want the mentees to apply, but we want to know something about them so we can match them well. Who are they? What is your contact info? What are your goals and what challenges you're facing? What skills that you don't have now do you want to develop? And finally, how can we support you? The mentors and mentees each have responsibilities. These are some that came to my mind about mentors. You've got to be available. If you're so busy that you're not available to your mentee, then that's not going to work. You've got to communicate clearly. You've got to be honest, kind, enthusiastic, and give positive feedback one item at a time. Help the mentees develop and achieve their goals. Adapt your mentoring style to meet your mentees' needs. Keep your mentee focused on the goal and make mentoring experience a win-win endeavor, both for you and for your mentee. After a while, later in your career, you get sick of your own accomplishments. But what really, if you can direct or assist someone else to succeed, that's what's really important. And sometimes it's something that you don't even know. I've had people come up to me and say, I owe my career to you. And I said, what did I do? But I just unwittingly gave them the kind of feedback, the kind of help that they needed so that they could succeed. So that makes you feel really good. Mentees also have responsibilities. They got to be on time. If they can't be on time, they got to call and reschedule. If you don't know, ask. There are no stupid questions. Be ready to try things you haven't done before. I mean, that's the whole scenario, to do things that you don't have the skills for, but you can be taught to do. And stick with it until you reach your goal. So, what does Gadafosse want to know about our mentorship program for research? Well, they want to see case reports, interventional studies, and I think they'd also be interested in having people apply for grants. We have grant money set aside in AIA. It's just waiting for people to apply for it. And later on, I'd like to see mentees who have a positive experience translate that enthusiasm and become mentors. Okay, issues still being decided. Free versus a small payment. So what should the mentees have to do? Now, we have the Gatafase grant. And so what we will do during the time of the grant for mentor and mentee pairs, they will need some administrative supports from Teresa, and we will transfer a small amount of money to pay for that support. For instance, we have to pay not only Teresa for what she does, but we also have to pay Emmeline, who is our graphics designer and brands all our presentations and does so much and so fast and so well. We may want to think a little bit more about the process used to match mentors and mentees. Someone is going to have to keep track of our reportable results, like number of case studies and things like that. And then there's whatever I've forgotten, which can be plenty. And so, what questions do you have for me?
Hi, Bruce. I think I missed, when does this start?
In a way, it's starting, that's a good question. In a way, it's starting right now with the sort of workshops, but I think we will probably almost certainly not really get started until next month, but that's only a few weeks away. So we want to know the names of people who are willing to be mentors, what their particular skill and experience is, what kind of mentees would they like to mentor? That is, case studies. Are you good at writing case studies? Are you good at designing studies? Are you good at interventional studies? Let us hear your skills, what kind of mentees you want. If you're seeking a mentor, tell us about who you are, how we can contact you, what you're struggling with right now, what you would like a mentor to help you with. So that can start right now. We will probably not start the actual program until next month. Now, here's an example of someone with a special skill, Paula Warner. She knows animal aromatherapy. Not many of us do. If someone wanted to do a study with animals or a case study with animals, Paula, you might be a perfect mentor.
That would be great. I've done many case studies with animals and people, and I know that I always back up my, whatever I recommend with clinical research, which is very important. People want to know why. People want to know if it works. And if we have pure clinical research to justify it, and they can look it up for themselves, I mean, people are just so skeptics, they just, they don't always believe everything, but if you back it up, and I believe in that, with both animals and people, that's great. And I'm willing to work with people if they want to go into the clinical side of everything and not just do retail. Yeah, I can help them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You all in the audience just heard a good description of mentoring.
I can help. if they want it.
Right, exactly. They have to want it, or
They
it's not
have to
going to go
want it.
anywhere.
And they have to want to do it and go clinical and not just do retail, which is a battle.
Right.
Because so many people, they get some kind of training and they go, oh, I have to open up a shop and I have to sell. It's like, no, that's so dangerous. You know, you have to know what the health history is, what medications are on, what allergies they may have, or what trauma they've been through with people or animals, and then back it up because you never know. Somebody say, I say, the research is right here. It's validated. You know, you can look it up for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And the few courses I've taken in animal aromatherapy, you also have to be sensitive to the emotional state
Yes.
of the animal.
Yes. And you have to look at the whole environment. What are they doing? What is their role? Where do they live? Is it a peaceful place or is it a, you know, like a boarding place or a competition place or a workplace? And are there, we call them caregivers, whoever's, working with them. Are they okay? Is their environment okay? You have to look at so many areas to, you can't sit down with the animal and say, okay, what's your problem? What do you need? So you have to look at all these other things, you know, but sometimes you hit it right on the nose and it's like, okay, you may be causing the problem, but how do I approach that person? You know, it's very
Right.
challenging.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Joy, I know you're an expert in chemistry. Maybe someone who is interested in chemical research would turn to you for your knowledge.
They might, Bruce, they might. But the actual research area I'm most interested in is evaluating the literature. Before somebody jumps into a research study, like say, oh, I want to research the impact of lavender oil on sleep, and I've got this great idea that people should put it on a cotton ball under their chin and before they go to sleep. And I'm going to evaluate that. It's not helpful to do it unless you already know what other people have tried.
Exactly.
And finding out what are the most useful and most valid and most relevant outcome measure tools. And if you don't read the literature that's been done already, or not even, let's say it's something like I want to assess vetiver for sleep or something like that, and no one's done any research on vetiver, that doesn't mean that you don't need to do a literature review. You actually still do, because you need to find out, well, how do I research sleep and
Right.
the use of non-pharmacologics for sleep? So, that for me is a key part before you jump into any studies or apply for any grants. And if you do apply for a grant, you have to have done a good, thorough background research, literature research. So that's my interest. And
That's
since 20
perfect.
yeah since 20 yeah
I
so
have
anyway,
this
so that's
good
what I'd be happy.
idea. Why don't you go and find out what's been done before, so you're not reinventing the wheel? Absolutely. Anyone else?
I agree.
I'd love to hear from some of you that haven't spoken up yet about questions you have, suggestions you have, how you might want to be involved.
Any brave souls out there?
I'd
I think I'm more interested in being mentored for the time being. Because I haven't been an aromatherapist for as many years as most of you, only for the last 3-4 years or so. So
That's great. What would you like to do?
well, I think that the challenge that I am having, and I was having this conversation with another member this morning, is that first of all, I'd like to study for level 3, or what used to be level 3, and I was explaining that I don't want to do it just because I want to work in a hospital environment, because that's not the goal, but the goal is to be able to accumulate as much knowledge about essential oils that I can be taken more seriously, because aromatherapy is not, doesn't have a lot of credibility here. So my challenge would be to perhaps use my case studies in order to bring more awareness of it, of the credibility of it, of the science behind it in my area, in my country. If that makes sense.
That's terrific. So what you would be aiming towards, as I understand you, is to begin to write up the case studies in a way that would convince readers that this was really, that the aromatherapy that you used was really efficacious.
Correct. Not just mine, but what the aromatherapy that we all use it, and that, you know, to make them aware that we are scientifically oriented, you know, and holistic, not just, I don't know, juju or whatever kind of thing, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. One of Mark Webb's courses, he says, he shows a slide where in Australia they have aromatherapy socks. I mean, it's just nonsense. And they're just doing it to make a buck. And I agree with you that in many places in the United States, well, my sister's a nurse. And she says, "Oh, that's all nonsense." And I said, "Really?" Let me tell you about some of the cases that I've worked on that cured people almost instantly. Well, we can't say cured. It supported them. And so they had no symptoms.
Right.
Right,
absolutely.
We have to change people's mind. And the more we can go out there and the other thing about case studies, I think, you know, allopathic medicine doesn't put as much credence as I think they should in case studies. However, the Chinese, in traditional Chinese medicine, that whole system is based on very, very careful case studies. And it works.
Absolutely.
So case studies are potentially more powerful than we may recognize in the Western world. But that's a good place to start, because without instruction, no one knows how to instinctively how to design an interventional study. But in school, we all did case studies, and we've all had experiences in which we instructed a client to do this and that, and they did, and they were just incredulous with the good results. I've certainly I've certainly blended stuff for people with respiratory diseases. They had fevers and cough and so forth, and they were symptom-free in like 2 hours.
From the case
Yes,
studies
from
that I've done,
oh,
the one with the best results that I've
right.
gotten has been with someone. Did I break down?
I think it's breaking up. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just wanted to comment that the best result that I got with a client has been with someone whose doctor actually was willing to work with me as an aromatherapist.
Cool.
And he was very open about it. And this client was actually taking 4 different allopathic medicines, and we were able to get him off 3 of them with the essential
Wonderful.
oils.
Wonderful. Yeah, you can formulate blends that are much more effective in some cases than what you get at drugstores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's just that, like Paula said, there's a lot of skepticism around us.
Well, we're here to dispel that skepticism.
It's like Angela Sidler also says all the time that plant medicine was the first medicine.
Well, our regulatory agencies in the United States frown on us saying cure, treat, diagnose, medicine, but my personal opinion, it's real medicine.
I agree.
I want to let you know that I will be doing a presentation on clinical aromatherapy on the 25th near Richmond, Virginia, with the American Holistic Nursing Association. I never knew they existed, but I've been asked to do a presentation in Richmond on clinical aromatherapy. I thought that this is great because I didn't even know that that organization existed. So if there's any questions or concerns you want me to ask, I mean, I already submitted all my slides and everything, but I'm willing to share anything that I will learn from this opportunity. And it's just like, it's amazing. You know, I thought Virginia was totally ironclad, locked down, no holistic medicine except for maybe a massage or acupuncture or yoga, but nothing else. So this is a great opportunity to try to open up and, educate people about
Yes.
aromatherapy. I know it's on a very basic level, but still, I'm spreading the word, you know,
Yes.
and I'm so excited. So I just thought I'd let you know.
Now, the talk that you give on aromatherapy, um, do you plan to publish that somewhere?
No, it's stuff I've learned in college, you know, what it is, how it
Oh,
works,
okay.
the safety, situations, the contraindications, and quality, and where to find quality oils and stuff. And I also get into flower essences because that pairs really well with aromatherapy because they deal with specific emotional issues. So I'm always good. I'm going to do that too and present a case study that I was a miracle actually. Is a client that had PTSD and got help through oils and flower essences. So it's stuff that's already published and I've already learned. I'm just regurgitating it to people who nurses. I mean, they need help. They need support,
I agree.
and I'm so excited. I would love to let you all know what happens and what feedback I get and everything. It's just awesome opportunity.
What about an article or a case or somewhat where you address the combining of these disciplines, flower essences and aromatherapy? Do you think a magazine or journal would be interested in that?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, essential oils, hydrosols, flower essences, it's client specific, but there's so many wonderful results that you can get. So
People need to hear that.
I know, I'm trying, you know. This is an opportunity I have here in Virginia to do that. It's,
Absolutely. Where are you
it's,
going to be speaking in Virginia?
it's Henrico, it's outside of Richmond.
Yeah, yeah, that's Richmond County. Yeah,
Yeah, so
good. Excellent.
I'm excited.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, oh, Joy
Yeah, I
has
do.
her hand up.
Sorry. Yep. Took me a little while to find the unmute button and everything. Yeah, the question I have is about the sort of process. If you're imagining various aromatherapists coming in saying, I want to do research, I want to learn how to do case studies, I want to be mentored. They should perhaps, I don't know, the different mentors could help at different stages in the mentees process.
Right.
For example, if I was able to help, or people who want to help with the literature review aspect, I think that should be done actually for everything, even for case studies.
Okay.
Ideally, just so that you know what's available, if anything. And in a lot of cases, you'll find, oh, nothing's available. All right, I'm doing something brand new. But still having things like, well, what outcome measures am I going to use? Those things as part of research design, because a case study is research. And if you're doing a case study and you're saying, oh, well, a person came to see me, they had this, that, the other, and and by week 3 they were feeling better. If you don't have a specific measure by which feeling better is quantified or described, it's not as strong a case study as if that has already been thought about and implemented from the beginning. But I'm sure that's on the AIA case study guidelines. I haven't actually read them recently.
You're
yeah.
absolutely right. And I like your emphasis on doing doing the literature review first. In fact, we are trying to get someone to speak on exactly that topic for the presentations that we're giving.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what I've done as a mentor and has been done to me as a mentee is to start off with simple, achievable, easy things. First, get the successes under your belt, and then tackle the things that are more difficult to do. And then the mentee, I believe, grows in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I think, follow-up is really important. And I've been a volunteer in some people who are doing case studies, and they do a basic questionnaire and they develop a blend or whatever, and then you ever hear from them again. You know, how are you going to measure progress, you know, if you never get back with your client, you know, and it's so important to follow up. You know, I give them like, okay, let's try this for 2 weeks and give me feedback if you're having any issues or you've had any successes, and I will document that. You know, how do you get to know if you're helping that person if you never get back to them? And
Exactly.
it just upsets me so much. It's like, what is this case study you're doing? How do you know that you helped me? You know, if you don't follow
Yeah.
up with me,
Right.
you know?
I would say a case study with with someone doing one treatment and no follow-up is not actually a case
And it's
study.
like, I don't get it. I mean,
It's
but
not
they're
a
not
study.
trained to know the steps to a case study. What's a primary concern?
Exactly.
You know, and all this stuff. It's like, okay.
You know, the case studies in aromatics in action are well done, I think. In fact, there's a book on aromatherapy case studies that I think the ones that we are publishing now in aromatics in action are stronger than the examples, because, and this is something that Joy alluded to, they go into detail about not only the essential oils that are used, but the condition and the ramifications of the condition that they are trying to alleviate or support.
Yeah,
Helpful.
Bruce, I totally agree with you. I think too, for those of you that aren't really familiar with aromatics in action, if you're a member, you can go back and look at different, articles that have been written presenting case studies. And then if you're thinking that you want to write a case study, I actually put in this chat a link to the page. And our case study guidelines are right on there. So it makes it very clear and easy, and our editor is so easy to work with. And so, we want, part of our goal with this research academy is to make sure people feel empowered to share their work. And the more people that share their work, then, the more we start to see similarities in case studies, and perhaps then we could draw bigger conclusions from things that are very similar. So we want to make sure that anybody that wants to present their work has some support to do it. And that's where, we feel really strongly mentoring comes in, because yes, we can all go to that page and probably we could come up with something pretty good that we, send to the editor and go back and forth. But to have a mentor help you out just feels a lot more comforting. And we want people to feel, comforted and ready to rock and roll with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denise, I really like what you said, and even reviewing a few case studies from aromatics in action, it doesn't take long to get the message of how you need to set it up to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, great conversation. Any other questions from anybody? All right, Mimi says, thank you so much. And we're nearing the hour here. So I did put our email in here as well. I'll put it in the bottom again, just to make sure that you have that. So feel free to reach out to us with any thoughts you have about this, and we will be happy to talk with you more. There we go. It's right there.
Exactly. We welcome all inquiries.
Well, thank you so much. That was awesome. I want to help any way I can.
Thanks.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, and reach out. Questions, ideas, suggestions. We stand by for any and all inquiries.
That's right. All right. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you so
attending.
much, Barbs.
Thank you, Paula. Good luck
Bye-bye.
with your conference.
I will
Yeah.
let you know how it goes.
All right.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
All
good
right.
work, Paula. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Be in touch. Yeah.
That wraps up today's session. Thanks for tuning into the AIA Research Academy. This academy exists thanks to the generous support of the Gafasi Foundation and is here to make aromatherapy research fun, accessible, and relevant. Our mission is simple yet powerful: to educate, inspire, and connect a global community committed to advancing the science of aromatherapy. We envision a future where research is not just part of the conversation, but the culture. The best part, access is completely free. Simply sign up through the link in the description box below. And if you're an AIA member, the Academy is already part of your member benefits, putting powerful resources right at your fingertips. If you're passionate about deepening your understanding of aromatherapy through research, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay connected with our latest sessions. We appreciate your curiosity, your time, and your commitment to learning.